Today's guest has been on the scene a couple of decades. She's someone who can help you move beyond burnout and into a more sustainable, creative, and energized way of living. She works at the intersection of movement, energy, and consciousness, and she focuses on clearing deep energetic patterns through practices like Qi Gong and Akashic Record clearing. She's also the podcast queen. Welcome, Clara Apollo. Where have you been?
Well, it's good to be back, Jenna. Thanks for
Sorry,
inviting me in.
you're
Oh,
welcome, but I just find you so inspiring. You've inspired me so much on my own personal journey, just knowing you and what you do. You're somebody that I look up to when we have our conversations, and yeah, but I haven't seen anything of you. What are you doing?
well, the last time we met, I think, was in a cabin in the woods back in the summertime when I'd did that experiment living at the bottom of somebody's garden, and it got invaded by ticks and mosquitoes and things, and it was not the idyllic
Oh,
vision that I'd had for the summer. But
yeah.
what it was a holding space because the relationship that I'm in now was still very new, and it's evolved so beautifully through, I suppose, visiting the full moons on the beach and things like that, which is another story that I will be sharing. But it helped me realize, because I moved out of Somerset last May. It was time for me to come back to the New Forest and back to my friends here, and also be part of what you're up to in Salisbury and all that funkiness. Although I love Somerset and I will continue to be in touch with it, I knew that I needed to be back here more than anything. I needed to be closer to the beach. I needed to have that expanse of water and the sound of the waves and that ease of being when you're on the shore, and it's just really, I realise now how flipping important it's been. Now I'm going to the beach at least, 2 or 3 times a week because it's
Hmm.
it's a short car drive, but it's a bike ride, and we've just got bikes, so it's like we went out on them yesterday, which is great. So what happened is that I'm now in a committed relationship with a really old friend of mine. You can't make this stuff up. Didn't realise that that's where our friendship was going to lead until it did very graciously, and actually did involve cacao on the beach one night. And
Good old Mama Cacao.
yeah, and I just said, could I hold your hand? And he was like, yeah, I'd like to hold your hand as well. So we just
Mm.
very gently started to grow like that. And he was sort of living near Christchurch, which is where I'm recording this from. And he's a musician, and he's also really into the sort of things that we're into, like how we are living sustainable lives now, but outside of the mainstream, because the mainstream is,
Yeah.
and we really do need to find other ways and this
Mm.
this is the big conversation that a lot of us are having. And so he's not in denial about it at all, and I think this is something that we need to be more upfront about. What are we talking about when we're thinking, how are we going to change the way we live so that we have less of an impact on the planet and become more self-sustainable? I mean, he's out there at the moment digging the garden, and we're doing seed planting because it's the equinox and the new moon, and it's like,
Oh, he sounds like the kind of man
brilliant.
I'm calling in.
Well,
Out there
I
digging
tell
for
you, I tell
plants
you
and
what, Jenna,
gardening.
it's taken a while to call him in, and the Akashic Record clearings that I do, there's always a part of it once you've cleared out the space to vision in what it is you are really feeling you need and want and desire and love to have in your life. And and I've been calling in my my dearly beloved, fun, creative partner for ages. And I knew he was somewhere. Once I started to connect with his energy and his frequency, I just kept kind of connecting with it. I didn't know who he was, didn't, well, I did actually, but I didn't know that it was him. But anyway,
Yeah.
and I kept having this feeling that he wasn't ready for me yet. Or maybe I wasn't ready for him. The situation wasn't ready. So I kept with those visionings and trusting that we would be led together. And yes, indeed, we have. So we're now
But
pretty.
interestingly, you felt I feel like you felt where you needed to go to be with him because you suddenly made quite a spontaneous decision to leave Somerset. Because I remember coming to
Mhm.
help you clean the place to hand over the tenancy, and then you just were like, I just need to be there. I need to be back living there.
Yes.
In the, and I think maybe that's why, like, you just feel that
It
calling,
was,
don't you, of where
but
you
I
need to
think it's
be.
more than that. It's also about following the signs, and because I've been thinking about it for a while, because feeling into it, because I felt quite lonely in Langport, although I was close to Glastonbury. I had to always travel. There wasn't much of a community there, even though I dipped into bits and pieces of it.
You
Nothing
had
really
your
there.
cat, didn't you, Melody?
Little Mel's, yes. But what happened was, really sadly and suddenly, is one of my dearest, oldest friends died of a heart attack on the 6th of March last year. And that completely compelled me to go, well, get on with it, because
Mm,
I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And when you get to later in your life, you realize that you're going to just have to get on with it now. And I think that's part of my character anyway. And let's just move it. And you're a bit like that as well. Let's just move it.
mm,
What is the point of waiting around if you can feel it? Even if I didn't quite know what was going to happen, like I didn't have a proper place to go to, but it was so strong, the pull, the call. It
mm,
was like a no-brainer. I just had to do it. And
mm,
but I'm also, what happened as well, because as you know, maybe listeners, viewers won't, that I was home free for 5 years. I was a house sitter before I lived in Somerset for 5 years. And I promised myself I wouldn't lose my home again.
mm,
And what this shift and change has showed me is that you have to absolutely know where your home is inside of you. You have to be very clear about homing yourself wherever you are. And it was like, okay, deep breath, big girl pants on, I'll do it again then. Um,
mm,
and that's an important resource, but
mm,
also I wanted to build a home with someone. I've been wanting to do this for years,
mm,
and I have a opportunity to do that with him now, even though the home we're in was actually his brother's, his darling brother, who suddenly died in the middle of January, so we had
mm.
all that suddenly going on. But how many of you are finding all of this is happening? Sudden shifts, left of centre stuff, odd shaped curves coming in. How can we navigate all of this and keep our sensibilities and our intuitions open and our hearts open and stuff? It's a tough call for humanity at the moment.
It's very interesting because I had a chat with Connie and Andrew last week about the trust frequency, and it's that really, isn't it? And what you were just saying about, I remember you just speaking to your friends and family, and people weren't understanding why you would just give up your house,
Mm.
not to sound disrespectful, but because of your age, being a bit older, but you should be more sturdy and secure and all of those things. And I remember saying to you, like, no, go for it if that's where you're being called, and a year on, your whole life has transformed. Absolutely.
Hugely.
From where you were then, thinking, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do? Oh, play safe, play safe. Oh, giving into fear, giving into other people's opinions, and I could feel it. I was like, no, you need to
Not do
just
it.
go for
Well,
it. And
you
now,
know,
and then, and I think many people can stay too safe, but if something's calling, it's calling for a reason,
it,
isn't it?
it, it absolutely is. And the piece that I hadn't like openly confessed anywhere was that I was really lonely in Langport. And
Mm,
I was getting anxieties and I had strange symptoms in my body and I was just really unhappy. And
yeah,
it looked like I was all right because I had a place and I had my cat and everything. What looks like on the outside, oh, give over. I have to
yeah.
come back to where my heart is calling me to. Like so many of us now, our
Mm.
hearts can only lead us the way of truth and kindness and compassion. But also there's a fighter spirit within me that comes from the warrior of the heart of like, I'm going to stand up for what's important now. I haven't got the time to muck about. And I know.
So I can't believe you just said that, because not yesterday, Wednesday, I participated in a breathwork journey, and I've been doing them 3 consecutive weeks. So I'd had quite a clearing for the 2 weeks before. So this one, I had nothing to clear, and actually, while I was breathing, I thought I got into my head. I was like, nothing's happening. But then when I stopped the breathing, I went into full on psychedelic mode. I was astral traveling, but not through our universe. It was a whole different galaxy that was new, and and I saw towards the end of this journey, I kept expecting to see ETs, because usually if I'm astral traveling, I'll see ETs, but I didn't. I saw it. I saw my Native American Indian guide very clearly, to the point where I kept thinking, are my eyes, you know, when you go into that psychedelic world, it's so vivid. And I thought, are my eyes open? Because I could see so clearly. And but then his face morphed, and then morphed again, and then it kept speeding up, and then there were different size faces, and it was, and I was consciously aware that it was all men and they were all warriors, and I felt like, oh, they're all with me, like these warriors, these like warriors from all time and space felt like they were there. And the message was, stop fucking around, stop with all the human distractions, get on with your work, there's
Yeah,
work to be done. And you know, and I think that we're at a time in our human collective, the you know, even where we are right now is just not sustainable at all. You know, we're getting ourselves into some really big trouble, and we need to up the gear now. You know,
we
we need to stop
absolutely do.
messing around healing, get on with that, get on
Yeah.
with the
Well,
healing
come
process
on,
and
people.
clearing.
Everyone can heal. The
Do it
practices that we,
quickly, like stop messing around, because there's
yeah,
work
all
to
of
be
us,
done. You know, that's
all
what
of
was
us.
coming through. Yeah,
I think this
yeah.
is why I'm coming back in. So my podcasts are going to start up again in 10th of April. I think I've got
Yay!
Nathan Simmons, the spirit medicine guy, coming in, and he does like free mind hypnotherapy, and he's also created his own oracle deck. But he's the person that I trust with my inner world. He's
Yeah.
hypnotherapy, and I've done training with him, which I then feed into my Akashic Record clearing.
Mm,
But it's very much when you meet yourself like you did on the inside, it's so real and it's so true. But it's also part of how can we bring that through into this dimension
mm,
that yeah, the human part of us, the animal part of us needs to be cared for. And we've
mm,
got so far away from nature, which you know is the Native American
mm,
message. And the other nature beings, we know that if the further we get away from nature, the more in trouble we are. And so we've got an opportunity here to really come up very close, very clear, without freaking out, because it could be very easy to freak out, with the
mm.
practices that we have to be able to manage fear, but be the adults that we are, you know, and
And
stand
the
together as
warriors, you
warriors.
know,
And what
yeah,
can we do? What can we do as individuals, but also as a team? And right
warriors of light and love, but really working hard with that light and love, you know, not having a day off.
Well, I think it's also like kindness too, just being kind and compassionate. The words light and love, I love the word that light can turn up in different ways, and love as expansive as possible. It's also multi-dimensional. So I think
Mm,
when we look at the different interpretations, is how does love land for you, and how does it guide you, and what is this light piece, and what is it shining a light on? What are those shadows that are still lurking, that are still uncomfortable and a bit
mm,
like, yeah, compassion into there. And I've noticed, like, over the years, like yourself, I know you did your NLP training like over nearly 20 years ago, and I
mm.
did EFT as well. So that's, that,
Yeah, I
and
did
it was
that as
that
well. Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole deprogramming the mind and then repatterning it has been part of our sort of culture of healing and shifting and changing for like 2 decades at least now. Hello, where are we with it? Has it moved you
Mm.
on? Is it, well,
No, because I'm seeing people are still in the victim, people are still not taking responsibility, people still don't really fully understand that they are creating their experience. um it's all very much a theory, you know, everyone knows the
in the mind,
theory.
in the
Yeah,
head,
and I've had it recently where I triggered a friend because I put a post up about labels and how they can be blocking us. And she was triggered, but she was triggered because it hit home, because it triggered, because there was a story there for her to look at, and I'm sometimes I hate being the bearer of this, like,
Sorry about that. Yeah.
yeah, some truth, but I'm really feeling like I can't dress this up anymore.
No, but we do
You
have
know,
practices and protocols.
I'm kind of like bluntly giving this information, but with so much love behind it. It's not that
That's
I
the
want
thing.
to upset people or trigger people, but sometimes you need to be triggered for it to
Yeah,
really like bubble up and be
but then
processed.
also not to leave people hanging in the trigger, giving them
Yeah.
practice and protocols that can actually help them. Because as I
Mm,
said earlier, there's a lot of fear and anxiety, worries in this world. Not surprisingly, our culture is unhealthy. That was a
yes.
very
That
kind
was
way.
very diplomatic.
Yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
we are creating new cultures. But the thing is how can we encourage people to step outside, to really trust themselves? We come back to trust freak again.
Mm,
How can you work it into what you do and what you practice and come back to nurturing? I think it's the heart field, because that is always going to serve you well. It's always going to tell you the truth. It might be an uncomfortable truth, but if you
mm,
can nurture that into becoming the inner guidance, the inner compass, then you've got something within you to trust, because the outside world cannot be trusted. It's manipulating you left, right, and center. It's
mm.
messing with your mind. It's going into the subconscious, using all the stuff that we're doing for healing is being used to manipulate society. And
Yeah.
it is time that we claim that back. And we often talk about sovereign presence, and what is that? That is our heart and our soul connection, but it's also that honoring of being supported by Grandmother Earth. I mean, this awesome planet that we're on that holds us and
Mm.
enables us to manage shifts and changes. One of her primal functions is to tune into our ability to balance, and how important is that? We're recording this at the beginning of the equinox weekend, aren't we? So,
Yes, exactly. Happy equinox.
and what does balance mean to you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't think
And
it's about,
so,
I don't think, sorry, I was just going to say something about balance often kind of brings up this feeling of polarity, doesn't it? But
mm,
I don't get that. So I mean, with the yin yang, because Qi Gong and Taoism and all of that, the yin yang thing. But the yin yang thing is also an encapsulated whole, and so there's that dimension of it. And what about a multi-dimensional version of yin yang? Well, that's going to mean it's not just polarity, then, is it? It's like
mm,
harmonizing different aspects of
yeah.
self. And our systems are always trying to come
Well,
into a
it's
form of
interesting that
balance.
you see it from that yin yang, because that's your main way of working is with the chi, which I work with the chi as well, but more like with the holistic. So for me, I'm almost seeing like spirals of three, like the mind, body, spirit, and them all
Yeah,
being in harmony with each other. And if they're in
totally.
harmony with each other, there's a perfect flow. And then if there's a perfect flow, everything's groovy.
That's what I mean. I just started
Yeah,
with the yin yang because it's a symbol that people will know for balance, and it was the
yeah,
initial part of my training. But like you, I've found this too. There's things always coming through, don't they? And
yeah,
we've got the mind, body, spirit, soul, and we've also got the three dantian, the three
yes,
treasures. But within each of those is the ability to harmonize or balance. And
mm,
so this call to balancing, if you let yourself. So one of the reasons why I haven't really been around for the last 6 months is because I've been resting, and I've been looking at what that means in different ways.
mm,
Resting from old patterns of being, resting from expecting myself to do this, resting from going live, being here. What could you let go of? What could you give it a rest from that could give you your energy back to yourself for your own? We've been given these bodies. It's an absolute miracle that each and every one of us exists. I mean, come on, we're the winner swimmers, and and this vessel that we have that enables our soul to inhabit the earth and walk around our truth and our light and our creativity and our play our play and our fun and our gifts. We need to take care of these bodies, and that
mm.
means all different aspects of it. So you do give yourself your own presence.
Yeah,
Really.
I've actually been coming off the phone a lot. I literally just pick it up when I need it now, or if I'm uploading something, or I might have a little bit of time in the day to catch up with messages and things like that. But I'm just really not doom scrolling anymore. I'm really just, and I found that since I've been doing that, my head doesn't feel so scatty, and I feel more, because we're all up in our head, you know,
I
when
know.
we're on the,
And
and then we're, absorbing fear. All these things are going into our subconscious mind. And actually, since I've stepped back, when I do pop on, I'm seeing how easily people are sucked in to things. I mean, at the moment, there's obviously this talk about the meningitis and everything, and just how many different directions that's gone into on one platform. You know, you've got people that, you know, just sort of, that are sort of fear mongered by it, and they're asking where they can get the jabs and that kind of thing. You've got other people that think it's some kind of conspiracy. You've got other people that are like, you know, and you just think, wow, it's just one subject, but all the different.
it is, well, at least it's a
Where's
conversation.
the facts? Where's
It's a
the realness in it?
That's
You
the thing.
know.
No, so what we're getting here is it's not being believed for what we're being shown. We're not being shown the whole picture. So the questions are there, the conversations are there, and that's what we need and want is conversations.
Yeah.
And but still, how does that feel within you? If you're looking outside for answers, it is always going to be like tumbles around of all sorts of I don't know what, who said this, that, and the
Opinions
other.
and
But this is
fantasy
why
and
this is
downright psychosis.
yeah,
You
and this
know.
is why this call to be able to know that you're safe in your body, that your home, your physical home, is a safe place to inhabit, which I know it is not for a lot of people. And then being able, if you are able to acknowledge that and be kind to yourself, and then come into your heart will give you that kind of intuitive, like, no, this is bullshit, or like, actually, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what's being called through more and more now.
Mm.
Because the outside world, with all the AI coming in and all the deep fake, and you don't know what to believe anymore, and this is just the beginning. I think it's going to push more and more people away from even engaging with it
Yeah.
because it's just not going to land right in their hearts.
Mm. Yeah, because you can feel when AI is to play, because there's no energy in there. There's no energy in the writing, in the videos. You know, it feels fake, doesn't it?
Well, it does to us, Jenna, because we are more embodied and we've worked
Mm.
on becoming more embodied soul beings. And that's
Yeah.
what I've found, you know, these last sort of nearly 3 years that I've been working with clearing the Akashic Records and the Qi Gong, because Qi Gong is my baseline practice. But
Yeah.
this being able to get into clearing old soul contracts, this has been massive.
Mm.
Huge for me, particularly around my mother, but also around my son as well, and other
Mm.
people that I didn't want to stop being in contact with them, but I did want to shift the energy. You know, there's sometimes you think,
Mm.
if only we could relate in a different way.
Yeah.
And this is what I found, not just me, but other people have told me it's been a real game changer.
Yeah.
And I also feel that when you can feel a discernible shift when you do these sort of clearings, and I know you do similar things as well, people have an experience that is theirs and then it can't be taken away from them, and then the
Mm.
truth starts to grow and then they start to trust themselves more and you're
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yeah, I
Really.
really found the Akashic Record clearing, which I did with you, really supported me through my poverty consciousness. And because that was definitely not from this lifetime, you know, it was ancestral, it was related to past life stuff. And it was a really deep piece that I really had to. I mean, I could write a whole book on the poverty consciousness after what I went through clearing that with multiple modalities over a period of time. But I really found the Akashic Record really helped me pinpoint one particular part of it, which I worked with. And yeah, no, I found it very, very interesting,
Good,
very
thank you.
effective.
Well, same. It's
And I
the
love the fact that you do the chi as well. So it's the kind of this fathomable self in this 3D world, but then also the spirit self and the soul journey, and how you can work with all of that at the same time, which is just great work.
oh, thank you.
And I'm
Well,
really wanting to encourage you to do more of that in a workshop space.
okay.
And then it's something we are looking into, to sort
We
of
are
offering in
so
the Salisbury area, isn't it?
yeah, we're asking
Are
you.
you coming on the 13th of June to our Elevate Somatic Spark retreat evening,
Yes.
and you'll be offering some of your groovy chi clearing
Well, it
there,
will
won't
be
you?
some of the chakra qigong. So what I found with the Akashic Record clearing and that abundant new beginnings that you spoke of was that there was, if we looked at clearing soul contracts that were linked to each of the different chakras, um, that would be really helpful. It came, actually, there's a bigger story here which I won't go into, but that's the overview of it. The abundance piece is often in the root chakra. And actually, the root chakra is the most popular clearing one that I've got. That's the one that people come to first. Good idea. It's one that
Yeah.
helped me a lot. I got my partner to do it as well before we started hanging out, and I fancy doing this a little bit. He loved it. He really thought it was great. Um, and then be able to bring that into movement. So there are some movements with a base chakra, and I'm sort of circling here and like moving,
Mm.
feeling
You
that
know, it's contagious.
sensuality and everything, and of course the sacral
Mm.
dantian as well, which is another clearing that we do. But to bring movement in enables whatever's ready to shift to clear out, but also brings in that joy of moving your body for movement's sake. And
Mm.
and yeah, there are particular qigong moves that can come in, but they're not just qigong moves. They are natural body expressions, which actually is what qigong is. Well, certainly the
Mm.
style that I
Actually, I
share.
was just going to say, for people who don't know what Qigong is, would you like to give a brief description?
Well, it is it's a combination of movement and meditation, and to enable your system to come back into more flow. So it helps to create yeah, fluidity in the joints, because often chi can get stuck, and you know the meridian lines that go around your body. They're actually a whole unit. There's meridian lines, even though you've got a beginning of one here and the end of one there. It's like they're not. They come back round again. They hook up. I find that fascinating. So when we have stagnation in the body, that's where we get headaches, we get joint pain, we get other disorders as well. So this is Chinese medicine
Mm.
perspective. That when you
Depression and
come in
anxiety and
here,
weighed down
all
mood
of
and all
that.
of those
All
things
get
as well.
things get stuck because you don't know how to deal with them. But when you
Mm.
bring a gentle movement in that feels like easy to do, I'm just thinking like something like hip circles. When you just circle your hips just because you can, there's something that just it's just really nice to do, and it's a base chakra
Mm.
movement that will connect you more with the earth. So you think your hips, a lot of us are like sitting or we're walking. We don't tend to use the hips in a full range. Now, this can mean the stagnation around the hip joints so that the energy of the earth is not able to travel as clearly up into the torso. Remember, chi will always find a way, it's like water, but you want a better flow, not only of
Mm.
receiving, but also of releasing. So fundamentally, at the center of Qigong is this dance of releasing and restoring, and an activation of your center line of integrity, as I refer to it as, that you feel anchored down into the center of the earth, but also to the galactic center, and your heart is the central place of balance there. And to work with your physical poise, so looking at how you're sitting, how you're standing, and building stamina up in that area, and then moving from the center, which is always, if I say the center, I mean the lower dantian, which is your sacral chakra area. And when you move from here, it brings the mind down into the body, and the mind going, moving from here, what does that mean? But try going for a walk and move from your belly. Let your belly lead you.
Mm.
It's a very different experience, but it feels really nice. So, yeah, it's steeped in eons of history, but actually the term Qigong wasn't coined until 1950s in the Cultural Revolution. It was a
Oh, wow.
series of movements. And
Didn't know that.
this the World Tai Chi Qigong Day is coming up on the 23rd of April, and I'm offering a free session, which I can send you links to. And also there's a Healing Our Earth all afternoon the following day, where quite a few people from the Qigong world are going to come in and chat about why it's so cool. There's a lot of science behind it, and people wanting to get it into schools. And it's the top five. It's the Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, yoga, and mindfulness. Well, dance actually. I think we're going to put in there.
Mm. Yeah.
And there's a new feature-length film coming out called Quantum Chi, and that is going to really bring out a whole different aspect of looking at the energy in the world and the kindness and the love and the movement, and how Qigong supports martial arts and healing. And this is something that I'm a little bit involved in, which I'm very grateful to be able to help promote it. So maybe we can arrange to have a viewing somewhere at some point.
Mm.
And it's won loads of awards. It's been so beautifully made, and there's such an energetic transmission. So Jenna asked me about Qigong, so I was bound to go off on one. So thank you.
I mean, I just love gentle practices, and you don't even need to do very much. But I find it really just helps me find that home in myself. You know, every morning it's just like, oh, there I am, there I am. This is where, and this is where I'm going to think from and move from. You know, with all the chaos around me, but I'm centered. You know,
Absolutely. That's why I
yeah.
say it's my foundational
And
practice,
you don't need to
my go-to
be, it's
practice.
not like yoga, you don't need to be very physically able, do you? You can, it can just be gentle movements. And I like the kind of purging exercises as
Yeah, the
well, you know, like
tapping and the clearing and the sweeping on. It,
well, you
yeah,
know,
and the
and all the
sounds that you,
sounds and
yes, it's
yeah. And I
great if
sometimes
you're
bring them into my dances, facilitation at the beginning, just to have a bit of a clearing, because I
definitely.
love them, and I find them so powerful. And if people can't afford to have regular healing and energy healing, just do a free qigong practice online or something like that, because it's such a good, or attend Clara's workshops, and you've
I,
got lots of free resources as
I
well. That's what,
do.
you
In fact, I'm thinking of a free Qigong research I've actually got on YouTube. I've got one on there. I don't, it might be unlisted or it might be hidden, but I always like to share it with people who are interested.
yeah.
And that's that's about an hour's long session, but there's also smaller bursts that you can do, but it depends what it is you want. There's a great crossover with yoga and qigong. Actually, I've been teaching.
Mm,
Last year, I taught some yoga teachers some qigong protocols. We did a nice 6 month course, and I'd be really interested to do that again if anybody is interested to add qigong aspects to the yoga. If you're a
yeah.
yoga teacher, bring the flow in. And I've learned so much. It's been really brilliant to see how they can synergize. So it's not one or the other, it's both and.
Mm,
And it's always about helping people come back into making their bodies feel more like they want to be in them, and they're not
yeah.
fighting their bodies.
Well, I
And
had a yoga practice for about 25 years. And then when I broke up with my ex and I was in such a place of emotional turmoil, and you know, I changed over from yoga to qigong practice every morning, and I haven't gone back to yoga, but I'm wanting to bring yoga back, but merge the two, because there's a benefit to them both. But I just found like daily purging was so necessary while I was in an emotional. It's what helped get me through, and so yeah, I think it's a valuable practice. You know, I think
actually,
I find it more valuable than yoga, but now I need to bring some yoga back in.
well, yeah, I do a set.
Well,
I call it Qi yoga, where I'm opening the joints. So I'm doing the side
mm,
because it open the side of the body and the and like that, and doing some. I also like doing. I used to be a fitness instructor. Shh, don't tell
I never
anyone.
knew
But
that.
it's never far away from me dumbbells.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
and I like that strength and power in my legs. I think the older we get, and in order
yeah.
to combat the so-called problems of menopause, it's like, no, it's just a wake-up call to be with yourself a bit more. Come on, you've been
Well, actually, while we're on that subject, because you know, I've got friends that are, you know, your age, that are the other side of menopause now, and I just find it really inspiring in the journey, that I'm really, what I'm really feeling into as I'm in this stage of life, is that it's really about just accepting the process of life. And because I keep thinking, why does it seem to be more of an issue for women in our generation right now? And then, but then if you look at our generation, it's all anti-aging and stay young and Botox and,
pressure,
you
isn't
know,
it?
all the things to keep us young, and we're all kind of fighting to not age. So is that creating a kind of blocked resistance within us via our psyche that's then creating these symptoms in our body because other cultures don't suffer with it?
No. And I'm going to just, oh, this is so juicy. So, what I feel it really is a call to rejuvenation. And rejuvenation can happen at any age. It's not about being or looking young, it's about having vitality to be able
Yeah.
to do with what you want to be doing in the world. And
Mm.
and that is going to come through your eyes and your skin, whatever age you are. It's not about sticking on your eyebrows. Sorry, women that do. I've seen these people put templates on, they pencil them in. You're like,
I
no,
have
what?
drawn eyebrows on.
Oh, you can draw them in, but these big ones, it's just something that, people would feel that they're, I don't know, I'm not young like that. I don't know why they do that, but it was like, there is more to life than looking like that, in my humble opinion. I mean, come back at us and tell us what you feel around that, because every age has its perks. And I
Mm.
remember being in my 40s and thinking, oh, I won't be able to have periods anymore, which means I won't have my ovaries won't working, which means I can't have any more
Well, there is a
babies.
grief around that.
And it's a
Yeah.
griefer. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, that's real. I'm going to honour it. I went out for a few toy boys for a bit, which was not the no idea. But anyway, that was my mid 40s response. Well, anyway, so what I felt was that, well, this is a natural process, and I have a child, who I'm hugely grateful for. But maybe it's time. Maybe the menopause in its wisdom is actually gives yourself back to you. No more children for you. You're
Mm.
going to give yourself to back. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is a halfway through our lives, we get ourselves back again.
Yeah.
And and then there's that whole myth around, oh, you won't be juicy anymore, your bones are going to brittle. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Not on my watch. And there's different systems for different people, and there's not one size fits all, which means you have to take yourself on, presence yourself. What is it you need and feel? Cross reference with your mates, get a good holistic practitioner, learn stuff, but also feel it and know that it's something that is not wrong. It's a natural evolution, and it's actually a gift.
I'm really looking forward to the crone zone. I really am. I'm just like, I'm not a baby machine anymore, but
No,
I'm
no.
so energized and I'm so in vitality because of the way that I choose to eat and live my life and the way that my psyche is. So, I mean, I'm already a grandmother,
No,
and
look at
and
you.
and I remember when it was, and that was like an initiation in itself, is that I became a grandmother. It's like, oh, I'm an elder now. And I really started honoring that in myself. Like, yeah, I've got wisdom. And it actually had this, I realized that I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm also not old. Like, I still have, it's not like it's
You,
not a bad
you
thing. I
don't, you
don't
don't
feel like I'm
suddenly,
suddenly old. I'm
you
very energetic. I'm very fit. I'm having loads of fun. And I just, I don't know what the big fuss is about. But then, but then, but then that, I think that's why I'm not really having the same symptoms as other people, because
right,
I'm not giving it
exactly.
any energy. It's not, I'm not saying it's not there. Every now and again I'll get a brain fog and I'll go,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
perimenopause,
You
but
have
I'm
to
not,
forgive yourself.
just a forgiveness. It's like, okay, there's a change.
But I'm also noticing that you take yourself on. You do all your juicing and you use fast and all of that. You right from the get go. It's like I'm gonna eat really good high vibe food. I'm gonna eat, what is it? Energetic food. No,
Mm.
electrical food. That's it. Electric
Electric.
food. Um, and so, but that's a commitment you're making to yourself, and it is a choice, and it's not
Yes,
always easy, but
I
you
see
still
it as a
do it.
responsibility. I don't
I
want to
think
feel
so.
shit. I don't want to
Yeah.
feel lethargic or ill or
Yeah.
tired or depressed. I don't, I've spent years feeling those things because of the lifestyle that I've led. I don't want, it's a
No,
choice.
and that you found what's right for you. It might not be right for everyone, but it's worth
Yeah.
it taking
Yeah.
some of this information that you're sharing. Try it out, see if that works for you. But I'm
Mm.
going to bring you back to rejuvenation again, because it's something that our cells are always doing. And how can we support ourselves to rejuvenate in a more like default pattern, not in a twisted pattern? And that's where I also feel that Qigong helps us, because it helps us release the old, which is what we do also when we're clearing with certain foods, supplements, and water. And that creates space for your cellular activity not to have to replicate in a toxic field. And what are we looking outside of us in the levels of pollution in our
I just
society?
loved how you worded that then. Not to replicate itself in a toxic field, because that's what our cells are doing. If you've got toxicity, what has your renewing of cells got to work with? I just love,
Exactly.
yeah,
So, and that way, if you're looking at the toxicity on the planet, the pollution in the rivers, don't get me started on the water or the air. What can we do about it is not feel like we're victims, because we can come in and we can clear up our own landscape. And that is going to have an effect on the outside world, just because of the law of like energetic transmission, and also awareness of like, I'm going to make sure that I only drink filtered water, and I'm going to make sure it's good filtered water. And no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to. And that piece around knowing that your system is always wanting to clear because it's wise, and it's always wanting to resource because it's wise. It's a release and restore, and however you can help it do that, it's going to serve you well. So you do it through your nutrition, your diet, your sleep, your wakefulness, your clearing practices, your gathering practices. I love the gathering of the qigong when you draw it all in and you cultivate that luscious, yummy qi that serves
tingles around
well.
your body. It just feels so beautiful, doesn't it, when you really activate that? And
Yeah.
it's you don't need a drug or
No.
any instant gratification because it just feels really yummy in your system.
You've got it within you, and oh my goodness, I wish I'd known all about this in my 20s when I was
Yeah.
being a costume designer and a performance artist, as I really burnt out badly, and I didn't realize what I was doing to myself. But when I started my Qigong training in the early 90s, one of the things that really made me wake up and go, why wasn't I taught this at school? Was that from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, they say that you are given a certain quotient, you are given a certain amount of energy when you're born. That's a combination of your mother and your father, and it's called prenatal qi or Jing essence. And when you use it up, you get ill and you die. And I'm like, oh, that's worrying because I feel a bit burnt out now. Yeah, you've really been spending your energy cake. This is why the energy practice of qigong came in and pretty much saved me from myself, and I learned how to release the old patterns, release the old ways. And yes, I also use some EFT. This is before I knew about Akashic Record clearing and movement and sound. And then come into this restoration process where you can gather the energy, the postnatal chi, and you can bring this into your energy reservoirs in your body as a resource, like an internal battery that can be gradually used. So you never need burnout again, which I thought was great, and I still
Yeah.
pushed it, but and
Yeah.
that's, but there's at least I found that there was a practice. That's one of the things that qigong does more than any. I feel. I mean, breathwork's brilliant too, but it hasn't got that central tenet that you are releasing and restoring and actually gathering into this rechargeable battery unit. That's the USP of qigong, and it can be added into any other practice. You know.
When I can feel when I'm feeling a bit depleted, and the first thing I do is walk down to the oak tree opposite my house, and I get bare feet on the ground, and then I'll be gathering its chi and just showering in its chi, and then like putting
And
it in my lower dantian, and it charges me up, and I'm good to go, and I can run
that's
like a Duracell battery after doing that.
So let's do something for folk. Are you interested in us offering you something in
Yes,
the
comments.
Salisbury
We're
area? Let
listening.
us know, because we'll formulate some. We'll do. Maybe it will be outside in the summer. Maybe it'll be inside at night. We don't know
I
quite
am
what the
feeling
schedule might
to
be.
bring you in on some of our outdoor dances and maybe do a bit of a chi practice in collaboration there, maybe closer to you in the forest.
Yeah, or down on the beach here. Ooh,
Oh, see
mm,
what happens when we get
yeah.
together?
That's it. Because we were talking behind the scenes about let's get a date and let's offer a thing, and nothing was really landing. And it's like, well, let's ask people if they want it.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want this? Because we're
yeah,
happy to share it. But
yeah.
to offer you some free resources in the meantime, there's yeah, well, I'll just send some links to you and you can send them out to people. And you can always have a look at my website, claraapollo.com. And
Yeah,
I'm,
I'll put all your links underneath. We'll have those below for people to tap into because you have got some free resources and stuff that are really
yeah,
beneficial, for little tasters.
I have got that, but I've also reduced the price and made a bundle of all the Akashic record clearing for the chakras as well. Because at the end of the snake year, which is, last month, I suddenly felt that I was really called to just pull it all together and offer them just for a fiver each. They used to be 20 quid. And oh my
Mm.
goodness, they literally flew out the door. These were individual ones. I thought, oh, okay, there's something here. People are really finding this helpful and are intrigued to do all of them. I've also included the abundant money mindset as well. And
Oh, good.
and a general clearing. So a general
Yeah.
clearing, I tend to say, is a good one. So it's now in a bundle of 9 of them for 45, which is still keeping them all at 5 quid each. Yeah, to help and assist people as you move forward. And they are audios, so that you're not going to get distracted by videos or going onto YouTubes or things. So
Mm.
really
You
into
just put
helping
the
people stay
headphones on and
focused.
lie on the bed and
Yeah, make it your experience. It's not about me. I'm just here to facilitate what you're calling through. And you can pick and choose the chakras that you want to work with. Often, the second most popular was the throat chakra. You won't be
yeah,
surprised to hear. People
yeah,
really need to be clearer and able to speak more from their heart and have confidence in how they're sounding. And I ban people from saying, I don't like the sound of my own voice. Stop that now. You're very lucky to be able to have something that you can
mm.
make a sound with. You're like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that
God,
before.
if I think about things like that, I would never do anything. I wouldn't be here talking to you now.
No, I know, I
And
know.
and it's funny that whole thing about the sound of your voice because when I hear the sound of my voice, I might be like, oh, but everyone else is hearing it all the time. Like if you don't like the way you look on screen, but that's how you look, and everyone's already looking at you looking like that. So get
Yeah,
over yourself and just get out there.
this is part of the stuff that you can clear from your soul records, your Akashic records. Any form of self-sabotage or
Oh, that's good.
unworthiness, it's come from something that was said to you as a child, probably, or a
Mm.
past life thing. It can be cleared very easily, and and I just want to say that I'm really proud of you, Jenna, how you stepped up into the podcast arena because I knew you'd be bloody brilliant at it.
Because I'm a
So
chatterbox. You knew I'd be made for it. Well,
I
and
don't, no, it's not
it
just
is a
that. It's not just that. You are genuinely curious about people and you want to bring out the best in them. And so this is an ideal place for you to do that. So well
yeah. And thank you for saying that. I appreciate it because I have always looked to you because I mean, I remember being on your podcast back in 2012, 2013, and when I was promoting Rest Festival, and I just used to listen to your chats with Diana Cooper and different people and just be like, oh, she's just so good at it. I love having like listening to these conversations and it was just yeah, and I found it very inspiring and you did really encourage me and so I'm grateful for that too.
you're very welcome. And all
And I
all of
love
us,
that I just get to play like this. I love it. And the conversations that I have, and it's mostly with people I know and friends and different things. And it just feels really fun. And I like to put, because I'm connected to so many wonderful people who don't like yourself, who don't necessarily put yourself on a pedestal, but you really deserve to be. I love that the work that I'm doing with the podcast and with Elevate Festival is really helping put these people on a platform, and I just know that they're all going to really benefit from it, and I just love that.
yeah, it's brilliant. Well, you're calling together Elevate Community, Elevate Tribe. As you know, I've been part of your Elevate crew since you've begun again, what, 3 years ago. And it's just so wonderful to see it all growing. But also the way that you run it is very organic and intuitive. So I completely trust how it's working out for you. And it's like, yeah, that's my vibe. I can do that. And so I will be there in the summer and I will be offering something. It probably will be
Yes,
Chakra Fever.
Elevate Festival,
Yeah, which is on August Bank Holiday weekend.
the 27th to 30th of August. Yeah, near Salisbury, near Stockbridge, sort of between Salisbury, Winchester, in between there.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're coming. And what did you say? You don't know what you're doing yet?
No, I'll probably do the chakra qigong, but I'd also like to be able to offer a group clearing of some kind. A group,
Yeah.
clearing.
Love that. Love you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is with Elevate, I was talking to somebody yesterday and they said that what they do, they really struggle to do at festivals because usually people are under the influence of alcohol and drugs and it's just not, you can't have integrity in those spaces. It's just not a good place. But with Elevate, it's where to do it. You know, it's the
Yes.
place to be if you want to be clearing and
Hmm.
elevating, because the support after is there with everybody that's there. You know, everyone's deep workshopping. It's what it's all about, and so it's a really safe space to really come and,
Yeah,
what did you
explore
call
it.
it? Release and restore.
Yeah, and rejuvenate and come into
Yeah,
your true vitality.
yeah,
Oh, must be time for us to wrap
yes.
up.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you, and I'm loving your pink hair. You've
Thank
always
you.
got
It's
some
time for that to
funkiness
come back.
going on there. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's
Everything's
like an
right with the
obsession.
world when my hair is like this. So
Yeah.
we've got to have fun. Looking forward to dancing this weekend as well, and to dancing with you again soon in the future. Now my ankle is healed, but yeah, would love to be in conversation with any of you listening or watching. But any of this, as you know, Jenna's great at this too. So let's continue chatting. Thank you so much for letting me be on your podcast again, my love.
It was great to have you on Voices of Elevate. Lots of love.
Thank you. Bye.